Good morning, everyone. In the second year, BA English Literature, we are doing the Romantic Age. So far, we have done the poems by Wordsworth and Coleridge, and now we are going to do the third major Romantic poet, George Gordon Byron, who was born in 1788 and died in 1824. The other two major poets of the Romantic Age are Shelley and Keats, which we would be doing later on. Talking about the poem, There is a Pleasure in the Pathless Woods, is a poem which talks about the power of the ocean, the power of the natural forces, and the peace which we attain in the company of nature. Strictly speaking, humans are social creatures, and yet the desire for solitude and for silence sometimes feels like one of the most universal human emotions. Everyone from time to time can benefit from being entirely and purely alone. Perhaps this is why paintings and photographs of the natural world are so common and so popular, because the feeling of solitude is universally desired in some capacity. So, when George Gordon Byron, or as he is more popularly known, Lord Byron, wrote the fourth canto of the Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, he included what has come to be known as the smaller poem, There is a Pleasure in the Pathless Woods, the 178th verse of the much larger poem, that is Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. Reflecting a strong desire for solitude and peace, it has become one of his most popular short poems, not an entirely accurate designation, of course, but because it is an extract from the larger poem, but it is still well worth reading on its own. There is pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is society where none intrudes, by the deep sea and music in its roar. In this video, we would be doing just a brief summary and historical perspective. We will do a line by line analysis in the next video. The title of the poem, There is Pleasure in the Pathless Woods, derived from the first line, since this was not written as a solitary poem, is telling enough on its own. To say there is pleasure in pathless woods is to say there is a kind of joy in walking the path that others do not. When someone is walking on a forest trail, anyone else can be on the same trail, but leaving the trail for a different path is making a conscious decision to be alone and to enjoy it. And in the very next line, the concepts of rapture and loneliness are juxtaposed with one another. Loneliness is supposed to be a sorrowful feeling, but the narrator is finding intense joy in it because the Romantic Age poets are lovers of nature. What is especially interesting is the idea of solitude being its own society. The idea of emptiness, of loneliness, even, is being personified into pleasurable company. The imagery is strong here. The picture painted through Byron's words indicate emerging from a natural forest into a silent shoreline, deep and peaceful, and almost as though listening to pleasant music, no one else is around, and no one else is around. I love not man the less, but nature more. From these our interviews in which I steal, from all I may be or have been before, to mingle with the universe and feel what I can never express, yet cannot all conceal. Here is an important stanza of the poem because, as was mentioned earlier, humans are social by nature. This isn't the story of an isolated or depressed individual. This isn't an expression of misanthropy. The narrator doesn't hate humans but simply prefers the company of nature. From here, There is Pleasure in the Pathless Woods takes an attempt to explain the inexplicable, comparing moments in solitude to interviews with nature. The narrator declares that he feels closer to universe itself and feels something that cannot be ignored but cannot be labeled either. It is difficult to describe the feeling of solitude. Sometimes peace alone doesn't feel like the right word, and the sentiments expressed in this poem are complicated and difficult to properly explain. There is no word in the English language to encompass many of these ideas, and yet there is also a clear indication of those emotions in the beautiful language and expression of the poem. As previously mentioned, let us go on to the historical context of the poem. There is Pleasure in the Pathless Woods is a part of a much larger volume, as I mentioned earlier, Byron's famous Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. Many of these stanzas in the story are based on elements of Byron's life until that point, leading some to describe the poem as being semi-autobiographical. Lord Byron himself apparently was unsure about publishing the first two cantos after their completion, concerned about expressing himself so truly in such a public fashion. During the era surrounding the writing and publishing of this poem, Byron spent much of his time traveling, and it is likely that he discovered his own inner need for solitude that eventually resulted in the creation of this poem, this verse, Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. One of the things Byron is well known for is that he embarked on a self-imposed exile from his homeland and spent much time in the east of Britain. What is especially known of Lord Byron's personal life is that he was a flamboyant and fairly unorthodox kind of a person, especially for the era. He was known for his poor handling of money, his numerous affairs, his bisexuality, his exile. In short, almost exactly the opposite kind of person that might be associated with a poem of this nature. This speaks a great deal to how deep the inner need for solitude and peace can run, and also that judging individuals based on their most extroverted characteristics is typically a mistake. When the fourth and final canto of the Childe Harold's Pilgrimage was published, of which Lord Byron included a preface that stated that at this point in the story there was little or arguably no difference between the author of the poem and its narrator. This is undoubtedly a part of what makes this work so popular and so powerful. It is honest. The best poets throughout history have been celebrated for their notable honesty of expression in their poetry, and this is strongly encompassed throughout There is Pleasure in the Pathless Woods. We will continue in the next video with a line by line analysis of the poem and a little more about the background of the poem and about the poet. Thank you.